Welcome back in to Under Review.
Here we are again in the 701 with EP 24.
24 episodes, and this one will be better than the 23rd because with each episode, we only get better, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. It gets better each time.
Not that the other episodes are bad because they're amazing, but just each one's better. You know what I mean? Like we achieve perfection, and then we just keep going. You know what I mean?
We just keep raising that bar. You know what I'm saying? Like we set the bar and then we exceed it every
In other
week.
words, we are the bar, and people try to be like us, basically. This episode is so we're in the off season for pretty much all sports at this point, except for baseball. And the only thing really going on right now is NBA free agency stuff. And Nick and I have a little bone to pick with the NBA. The NBA tries to make stars out of people that aren't really stars, and so we will share our thoughts today on the NBA's most overrated players, in our opinions, which is also a fact. If you have not learned so far from watching us, listening to us, however you get this podcast. Anything to add, Nick, before we get started?
I just think that you should all take this. Honestly, I hope everyone takes notes whenever they're watching or listening, because everything we say is fact, and you should just write it down to have it in your memory bank and have it with you at all times. So that way, when you come across someone at the street, you can absolutely flame them with what we give you.
And a great episode. They're all great episodes. A great example of someone that does what Nick just said is our sponsor today, Miss K Shirtlift. We have to bring her up again because one, she's amazing. Two, she provided us with tea, hot tea, that we can drink while recording. We specially requested cinnamon, so she provided us with hot cinnamon spice tea. She is the definition of a supplier, just not of drugs, of tea,
a tea supplier,
which is almost as good and can get you hooked on tea, which is actually okay and not illegal. And I'm really like going off the rails here, so I'm gonna bring it back. But Miss K, one of our most awesome listeners, always provides feedback. She actually spreads the word about our podcast as well. Just want to give her a big shout out and a big thank you for the tea, y'all. If you want some hot tea, this flavor, hot cinnamon spice, is the best hot tea I've ever had.
I thought it was pretty good.
I'm not exaggerating.
I'm not a tea guy, but whenever I drank it, I liked it. And obviously, like I said, like coming from a non-tea guy, I think it's very good.
And I am a tea guy, and that's my favorite tea I've ever had. So that says a lot as well. So she's just amazing at what she does. Go hit her up, get some recommendations on tea, as well as how to drink it and how to make it. Do not microwave water before making tea. That's one of her big things. All right, our stat of the week is that of the three highest paid players in the NBA, you have Steph Curry. He's making the most this year, as he should. There's also a salary cap, so they're all very similar in salary. Steph Curry's making the most by not very much, like a million, which is a lot, but like in terms of their
compared
salary,
to everyone else.
He's making like 45 something million. And then coming in second and third, I think they're tied, would be your boys Russell Westbrook and James Harden, who we will touch on and talk about here in a little bit. But they are the two of the highest paid players in the NBA, and shouldn't be. But that's your stat of the week, presented to you by Miss K Shirtlift.
Your player of the week is Christian Wood. Okay, obviously in light of this free agency talk, we had to bring up one of the Mavs' big offseason moves thus far, and hopefully not the last.
It better not be the last.
The last, if we want to win a championship, that is.
Which we do.
So, Christian Wood averages 18 points and 10 rebounds, and I think he is going to be a key asset to the team's success in this upcoming season.
He's what we needed.
Hopefully for a while. Obviously, like we have said before, because we have talked about this move before, this is only one of the pieces to finish the puzzle.
This was a big move, but hopefully not the only move. If this is the only move, it's disappointing.
Big man that can shoot. And what is the one thing that Dallas has struggled with?
Big man that can shoot and defend. So hopefully him and whoever else they add can. By the way, also side note, Knicks are on the prowl. They want Jalen Brunson. So
and I don't want to let him go.
And neither do I. So they are prepared to let hopefully old Mark is cooking up some magic behind the scenes.
I would like to hope that he knows what he's doing.
If we're getting rid of Brunson, then hopefully
maybe that means we're making
the Knicks
room
have no one that we want
for a big name.
Yeah, hopefully something like that. We shall see. So NBA free agency kicks off this Thursday at 6 Eastern, so it'll be 5 here Central Time. The only time that matters because that's the time that Nick and I live in.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of why we're doing this episode right now. So some news this week. Kyrie, after being the drama queen that he is, just ended up opting back in with the Nets. So all that was for no reason. So he's going to be on the Nets for a lot of money. Russell Westbrook is back on the Lakers. He opted back into that. It looks like the Sixers are going to keep James Harden. So let's just hit on these players that we think are just overrated in the NBA. So basketball is a player-driven sport more than any other sport, any other team sport, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So it normally comes down to just like the individual guy a lot of the time, which is why they make a lot of money. So these guys are making a lot of money, and they're not worth it, in our opinions. So I'll start us off with the first one. Here's the player that I actually think now everyone agrees is overrated, Russell Westbrook. Nick, take it away.
The biggest thing is, I think, obviously, all the money that he brings in is literally just because of his name. He has obviously inherited the name Westbrook, and I absolutely love it. Skip Bayless loves to absolutely flame this man.
He came up with the name.
I think it is absolutely hilarious. Obviously, he had some good years. I'm not going to take that away from him. I do think that at one point, there was a Russell Westbrook that you would all fear. Do I think that is the Russell
Thunder.
Westbrook that we look at now? I do not. I was actually going to go there. Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah,
the Thunder is where he was good. After that, garbage. On the Lakers, he was a turnover machine, couldn't make any shots, and still somehow manages to be one of the highest players in the league. Highest paid players in the league.
He's been
I don't really see how that can be true.
He's been on 4 teams in 4 years because they've been passing around his terrible contract. So, let me preface what we mean by overrated.
He can't get along with anybody on his team. Like that was
he's very selfish.
That was even a problem in the Thunder, right? Like he couldn't get along with, which also, side note, that was like absolutely criminal that a team that had like Harden when he was good, Kevin Durant when he was good, and Russell Westbrook when he was good, and Serge Ibaka when he was good, couldn't win a championship. That is the one thing that will always be insane to me, that you had all 4 of those guys when they were in or near their prime, and nothing happened.
Do you think the Thunder will ever live that down? Because they still haven't.
I really don't think so, because they at least had made playoff runs with that team, but they haven't been anywhere close to that since.
Right. I want to preface also what we're saying by overrated, because I didn't really define that. Overrated does not mean that they're we think they're terrible at basketball.
I think it's more overpaid.
Overpaid.
Like they're getting paid more than they're actually worth.
Can they carry a team to a championship? Steph Curry, he just carried a team to a championship. Kevin Durant has shown that he has carried a team to it. Now, we'll talk about that. I think we'll talk about that in a little bit because there is some speculation. He hasn't actually carried a team by himself to a championship. But Russell Westbrook, when it was just him, couldn't get past the first round. When he got to the Lakers, who were winning, right? They were winning. He got there and they didn't even make the play-in tournament. Like, it was embarrassing.
And that was also when they made the NBA play. Like, it was bigger, too. So there were, more team, and they still couldn't even make it.
They still didn't make it. So Russell Westbrook is common consensus actually overrated at this point. So most of the sports nation agrees. Now we're not saying he's not talented. The dude averaged a triple double for like 3 or 4 years. Like, yeah, that's impressive. But guess what? When you do it on a bad team, when you do it on a team that doesn't matter much, like that's just a centralized player. And like you were saying, he blames everyone else.
He's the biggest, one of the biggest stat padders. Like, yes, he has all these things. Like you said, triple double. But in the end, did he actually achieve anything? No, he didn't. And obviously, like you said, he blames everyone else. Like it
was the coach's fault.
He even blames fans for screaming at him or calling him Westbrook and heckling him and stuff. And like, dude, you have only one person to blame, and that's yourself, because at the end of the day, it is just you out there.
He got mad at the media when they asked him why he's missing so many shots. Like, it's their fault. And like, he doesn't take accountability. Like, dude, you're in the NBA, make a shot and people stop asking you why. So he's definitely one of our most overrated players. Nick, do you want to throw another name out there?
Joseph already mentioned him, but I think he's James Harden. Obviously, I don't think he's been good since.
Has James Harden ever carried a team to a championship?
No, he has not.
Overrated.
I mean, obviously,
another stat pattern, in my opinion.
I would agree. His biggest thing was the step back, right?
And now he can't even do that.
And he can't hit that anymore. And like,
he's washed.
I would agree. I would have to agree. He's one of those guys that just keeps getting to the free throw line, which in my opinion,
he doesn't get those calls anymore either.
It's very frustrating. And that is also the reason why he is getting such so few points compared to what he used to in the past, is because he's not getting those calls anymore. So he's not getting to the free throw line as much anymore. So he's not getting those free points anymore.
I want to say, I heard a stat one time a few years ago when he was on the Rockets, like in his prime. He's like 19, like averaging like 19 points a game from the free throw line. Like, a lot of his points would come from free throws because he just drive in, flop every single time, get every single call.
I remember particularly whenever the Mavs were playing the Rockets in the bubble, like, there were multiple times when he would go to the free throw line and get 3 shots because he would be flopping behind the arc, and like, he gets 3 points off that, but those are off free throws. So like, can you even really count it?
No,
I don't think
you can't, and you can't live your game by free throws, because if you get to the finals, like, they stop calling. Period.
Yeah,
like, they stop calling fouls for the most part. So, and we also don't like him because he originated in Houston. That was his team. We can't stand a Houston team that's good because
as diehard Dallas period fans, this is just the general city of Dallas.
As we've discussed before, Houston. Obviously this isn't basketball related, but as we've discussed before, you can't root for the Astros and the Rangers at the same time. It's like an in-state rivalry. You don't want the other city to be doing good.
No one can serve 2 masters.
See, you can use it everywhere. Okay, next player that we think is overrated. James Harden and Russell Westbrook are definitely overrated. I'm gonna throw this one out there.
I think those are probably the 2 biggest ones, because like that's
those are
one
the
that
2
everyone
that
can
like
agree on.
Yeah, everyone pretty much agrees on.
And everyone
at this
keeps
point.
flaming them.
And so they're way overpaid, way overrated. Can't carry a team to a championship, and it can be argued hinder their teams from getting to championships. This next guy definitely hindered his team from getting anywhere this season. It would be Kyrie Irving, who thinks the Earth is flat. And
that should... and next player. That should tell you all that you need to know about Kyrie Irving.
He is a very skilled basketball player, but he told the Nets coming in last season that basketball was not the most important thing to him. Nicholas, when you're wanting to make $50 million a year, the max salary in basketball, do you think it's a good idea to tell your employers, hey, this doesn't really matter that much to me?
No, I don't think so.
Exactly.
Because when you're a professional athlete... This just goes for any sport, not just basketball. Mm-hmm. You do one thing in life. What is that? That is play your sport. Like for Kyrie, he does one thing in life, play basketball. And for him to say that that's not the most important thing, like...
To tell his employers that that's not the most important
literally
thing?
your job. That's all that you do. How, like, what? That doesn't even make any sense.
Well,
and then you're going to ask for all this money and expect them to give it to you?
Yeah, he's expecting he's mad because they wouldn't pay him the max contract when he didn't even play last season because he wouldn't get vaccinated for his team. So he just like sat out.
He didn't play like half the games.
And then he came back and he was all grumpy and they didn't win a single playoff game. And Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, just like anyone who's great at their sport, that obviously means the most to them. That's what they work for, like, is winning a championship. Kyrie's just like, nah, I don't even care. Like, I'll show. He's like, in any job, like, you can't just be like, hey, just letting you know, like, I'm not coming in this week.
That'd be like, yes, like
for no reason.
You're basically telling your employer, I hate this job, and then 2 days later, hey, can I have a raise?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. It'd be like me telling Nick, hey, like, I'm just going to take this week off from under review. Like, I'm just not feeling it. And then, like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
This is a partnership.
That's right.
And we both hold up our end of the deal. Kyrie, be more like us. That's all I have to say on Kyrie. He's a baby, and he just...
I could be a better asset to the Nets than Kyrie.
Yeah, because at least you'd show up for every game.
I would be there 100% of the time.
And
would I put up 2 points a game? Yes, I would.
So Kevin Durant moved to Brooklyn because his best friend Kyrie Irving got him to come. And now it's just Kevin Durant.
And then Kyrie's not even playing.
He doesn't play, and Kevin Durant was not happy with him. James Harden left. He was tired of it, so he left. Not like he was helping, but like I just... If I was the Nets, I would cut him, like, and just let him go.
I'd be like, get out of here, dude, because
they didn't want him back.
Well, because like you should put the team above, like, you're being selfish at that point.
It's ridiculous. A lot of these NBA players, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, think that they're better than they actually are. So there's a divide between stars and superstars in the NBA. Everybody wants to say all the good players are superstars. Really, the only superstars who have the most impact in the NBA are Steph Curry, LeBron James, Giannis, and Kevin Durant. And that's it. And then actually Luka's making his way up there. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Mavs fan. He's making his way up there.
He's getting respected, especially since they beat the Jazz then they beat the Suns.
Yeah, he just carried the Mavs. So there's arguments to be made. He's a superstar as well. But other than that, like, Russell Westbrook's not a superstar. Kyrie's not a superstar. They can't carry a team alone. You know who can? Steph, Giannis, LeBron, who used to. LeBron's getting older. And then Kevin Durant.
You have to include Luka in that conversation because
he carried his team.
It is a fact that Luka carried the Mavs to the Western Conference Finals, and I'm not even ashamed to say that he is the only reason we were in that Western Conference Finals.
Absolutely.
Like,
the only
I don't
reason.
even care. I don't even care that we have one good player. Well, guess what? That one good player took us to a Western Conference Finals.
I mean, Jalen played great, but he didn't do any carrying. That's for sure. Like,
Jalen played good when Luka was hurt at the beginning, but then when Luka came back, it was just the Luka show, as per usual.
And he's what we needed, you know?
He is what we needed. Now we're trying to get him some pieces.
Exactly.
Something to work with, man.
But he is not on our list because he's not overrated.
He is not. Oh, he is
underrated.
Underrated.
In my opinion.
Yes.
So, yeah, Kyrie Irving. I don't like Kyrie Irving at all. I've never have. His attitude has been ridiculous. Him and Russell Westbrook. So these guys just feel entitled. They're not. All right. So, I mean, once you
just the selfishness.
Bring a team to a championship, win it, and then we'll pay you like some respect.
I also feel like the NBA is probably one of the most selfish leagues.
Oh, yeah.
Out of like all of sports, because I feel like you have a lot more players that feel entitled and try and get a lot more money than they're actually worth and try and milk every single team for every penny that they own so that they can get paid what they want to get paid because they want to make all this money, but they're not actually worth it.
Exactly. So I'm also gonna say this. I think that Jason Tatum right now is overrated. But I'm not saying he's overrated like those other guys. He's just, right now, everybody thinks he's better than he actually is.
Okay, so
Those, by the way, those big three, those are the ones that are overrated and just ridiculous. Like
that was
entitled.
I think honestly, those three are like ridiculously overrated.
Those three are agreed upon in most areas. Okay,
this one can probably be argued either way, but I do see how you can say that he's overrated because he took his team to the finals
and then wimped out,
and then that was kind of it. He showed up for every game.
Was
up
he
to
their
that
leading
point
scorer
until the finals?
Who was their leading scorer in the finals? It wasn't Jason Tatum.
Not Tatum.
It was Jaylen Brown.
I will tell you that much. Obviously, you can argue that it's his first finals, so it doesn't really. But like, still, as
He's
you're
had many
supposed to be the star of your team, so that means it doesn't matter where you are, who you're playing against. You're supposed to show up and be the best player out there.
So
Jason Tatum was not.
I think he's the opposite of the guys we've been talking about. The guys that we've been talking about are confident. They're super cocky, super arrogant for no reason. Like, they haven't done anything recently to like brag about, right? They've stunk recently. or Kyrie hasn't even been there recently. Jason Tatum is amazing. Like his talent level is crazy good. He carried his team to like the playoffs and to the conference finals. But once they got to the finals, he stunk. He lost all his confidence in press conferences. He just
folded under all that pressure.
Yeah, he didn't bring that confidence. So you have to, like, when people are like, "Are you a superstar?" He like deny it. Like, dude, if you're up on that podium and they say, "Yo, do you think you should be considered a superstar?" Yeah, I'm a superstar.
Even if in your mind you think you're the worst player in the NBA, you just say, "Yeah, of course, I'm the best player out there." Like, you're really gonna let that. You're letting the Warriors know that you're not even confident in yourself.
So the Warriors heard that and they were like, "Oh, sweet, target Jason Tatum."
I guess we don't have to worry about Tatum this week because he doesn't even think he can win.
Exactly, and he showed it.
And obviously, he knew all eyes were on him because he's the undisputed star of the Celtics. And like I said, that was his first NBA Finals appearance.
Yep.
So he knew that all the eyes were going to be on him. It's like, we're going to be monitoring Jason Tatum, see how he handles the situation. And I think he just folded under all that pressure and couldn't handle it.
He'll be back, though. I just think he's overrated right now. I don't think he's as good as everyone thinks he is because of his confidence level. Once he gains that confidence, like goes over the edge.
He just needs more years.
Yeah.
He just needs some more experience. Obviously,
it's just like, don't.
I do think that this finals appearance will be a good experience for Jason Tatum, and I do think it'll be crucial in his development because I think that will build a lot of character for him and kind of see what you need to be like. You can be a superstar, but the thing is, can you win a championship?
I just don't text Kobe and then post that you texted Kobe. Kobe's dead. Like, that was the most corny, ridiculous thing ever. With that
whole thing, you just set the bar so high for yourself, dude, and you didn't even come close
it was
to those
ridiculous.
Expectations that you set for yourself. And then obviously that made everyone flame you even more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Even aside from the fact that you played awful.
I think he'll be better though. Another name our last name I'm gonna throw out there. Trae Young. I think he's overrated. He's good at making threes. Trae Young can't carry a team to a championship at all.
I mean,
I don't think he's that good.
Only notable thing was this last year?
Yeah, when they went to the
I'm not talking
finals.
about. Sorry, not this past year. I'm talking about. I guess would it be? It'd be technically 2 seasons ago when the Bucks won it all and they beat the Knicks. Was that?
They beat the Knicks and then they beat the Sixers.
Yes, that was the big thing. But then after that, I mean, nothing.
Nope, nothing. They were terrible.
Nothing after that series, and then nothing this season either. So I do think
Trae Young.
I agree.
Overrated. I'm gonna throw one more name out there. Ben Simmons. I'm just gonna add that one as a bonus. Overrated.
Dude, he's just not a shooter. He can't make a shot to save his life.
Where's he been? He's scared of playing basketball.
And then he was trying to come back.
He's scared.
In the playoff game.
He said he's got he's like he literally said he had demons on the court or something like that. Like he's scared of getting back out there.
That's just
I'm
insane.
sorry. You're scared of getting out on the basketball court?
The one thing that made me lose all my respect for Ben Simmons was the technical 2 seasons ago whenever he was still on the Sixers and like he had that wide open layup and he passed it. And it was at that very, very moment that I was like, all right, Ben Simmons is a joke. I've lost every ounce of respect that I had for him. Even if I had any, I have none.
I'm going to say this. The guys that don't deserve to get paid what they're getting paid, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. The other guys, and Ben Simmons. But the other two, like Jason Tatum, Trae Young, they've been doing great. I just don't think they're as good as everyone else thinks. These are overrated by the public, in our opinion.
Ben Simmons just kept looking for excuses, it seemed like, to stay out.
Yeah, he wants to sit on the bench and look like stylish.
It was like back. He had a back something, and then...
No, he said his back issues were caused because of his mental crisis.
And he was just, for me, it felt like he was looking for reasons to stay on the sideline.
Hey, if you know what, if you're having problems, you take care of those problems, but do not demand to get paid millions of dollars because you're not going to.
Well, you can't expect, because you're not worth all of that because you have to show up and play. Mm-hmm. Kyrie,
exactly. Ben, everyone. Steph.
That just goes for everyone.
Be like
okay.
Mike.
This is applicable to life. If you don't show up for your job, why would you get paid?
Oh, and if you're not good at your job, then you're not going to get a raise.
Yes, exactly.
Russell Westbrook, James Harden.
See, what I want you to take from this episode is not only can we roast all of these players, but it is applicable to everyone in life.
We just taught y'all a life lesson, which you probably already knew.
What we just said. If you don't show up for your job, and this is just speaking to everyone, you're not going to get paid, and don't expect to get a raise.
Definitely, yeah. Don't expect to get paid more, Kyrie Irving. Like, that's just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that again.
We already flamed all of these guys
about it.
enough.
Yes, I could go on for days.
Here, as we like to end our shows on Under Review, with our quote of the week. This one is brought to you by the GOAT. That's right, the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships.
Amen.
That is the truth.
It is the truth. We thank y'all for tuning in. And this was a venting episode, in case you hadn't noticed. And
we do let off steam about all these players that are demanding all this money that they do not deserve.
Yeah, send some our way. That's what I think.
Honestly.
Obviously, we're still in the off season. If you have any more, suggestions, send them our way.
Let us know, because we can do whatever we want.
But thank y'all for tuning in this week on Under Review. We will see y'all next week.